how to break down a tenderloin. It can be intimidating because they're expensive, but they're really not much more money than they're good for ribeye that people whack on the grill. So you do see it with sometimes it has a big fat cap on it. This is just silver skin. I'll show you how to do that, and then we're going to tie it and talk about the different things you can do with the head, the tail, and obviously the center cap. Yeah, it's a good skill to know because sometimes people they don't want to buy a tenderloin. We'll go over that today and how to tie it up, how to spank it once it's tied up, how to stay sane and consensual with the tied up meat so that the meat gets what it needs to feel satisfied. That's all. I don't know if we're going to use any of this, but.
All right. Happy voiceover time. We are taking apart this tenderloin. This is usually how they come. Sometimes they come with even a thicker fat cap on them, but this one's pretty standard like this. You'll notice on the upper side I took off the chain really quick. I'll address that later. And you'll see I'm using my hands as much as I am the knife to actually pull stuff off. Not everything needs a blade, and it comes off quite easily. There are seams here that want to be separated. Here I'm taking off the silver skin. This is basically the only place that it is on the tenderloin. And then we're just going to trim up any kind of fat, any kind of stray bits. It's going to look pretty lean and nice and all homogeneous red color when we're done. This is the head right here. So the thicker end, the one I'm working on now, it has these tips attached to them. So the head is kind of the bigger section right there that I just flipped over closest. And this is the silver skin again. And the other side is the tail. So that's the end to the right. That we're going to fold under when we tie it. And then the head we're going to kind of tuck into one piece and use the butcher's twine to kind of form it into one homogeneous cone-like shape. That way everything cooks relatively evenly, but to be honest, the tail will be a lot more done than the head. So you need to figure that in. If you need to put the head back in after you've let it rest and trim it off, that's a whole nother ball of wax. But it's also good if you have some people like medium well and they'll like the tail, and other people like rare and they'll like the head. Right here, those are actually where the ribs used to be. So we're just going to smooth that out. I'm saving all of these scraps, all this sinew. The fat I'm kind of throwing out, but the sinew, silver skin, and the chain as well. The scraps from the chain make amazing, quick, easy, cheap stock. And you can't see it in this shot, but you will see it quite soon if there's a pot there with all the scraps in it. So this is the basic method on how to tie up tenderloin. It's quite easy. It looks a bit tricky, but it's actually quite easy. Unfortunately, there isn't a good angle for me to show you how I'm doing it, but you basically just fold it around, tuck it under, do the next one, fold it around, tuck it under. It's quite intuitive and not complicated whatsoever, I promise. So the reason, again, just to reiterate, the reason we tie it up is to give it a shape, just to kind of make everything round, even the center cut, which is where I'm working now, which is the most expensive cut. It's not the tail, it's not the head, it's right in the middle, and that is where you get your typical filet mignon cut out of. But the tail and the tips are pretty amazing, just as high quality, and you can even buy a whole tenderloin, leave the center cut for your steaks, and then use the tail and the head to do other stuff with anything else, with tartare. You could do some cool stir fry, anything you like.
This is just a really basic tie on how to tie a tenderloin. This is the head, this is the tail. So all we've done is just tuck the tail up, and that way it's it just cooks a lot more evenly. We'll want to probe here because this is the center cut. Head, tail, center cut. This is the most valuable cut of the tenderloin, but it's perfectly round, and so we're basically, this is the part we concentrate on. We can finish this off later if we need to. In the tail, we can do whatever. You can also cut these off in the beginning and then use them for other things. Really tender, there's nothing wrong with them. There's just a different thickness than the rest of them. This is the chain, so I'm busy finishing cleaning this up now. This is kind of the first thing that I pulled off, and there's a lot of good meat still in here. So I'll continue cleaning that. These are all the scraps. I want to put this in basically like a just under a simmer, and I'm gonna make a stock from all this stuff, all the connective.
This is exactly what I talked about earlier. And if I explained it better in this video, I would have left the audio, but now we're doing happy voiceover number 2. This is free flavor. You're gonna make beef stock out of this. So in a couple hours on a simmer, less than a simmer, slightly less than a simmer, you will see color to come out, a nice brown, beefy color. And then I'd say go for about 5 hours. Real gentle, strain everything out, and then you can kind of hammer the heat up, reduce it down, add your mirepoix, your carrot, celery, onions, any kind of herbs you want to accent the flavors with, such as thyme, rosemary, maybe a little bit of bay leaves, some sage, black peppercorns, stuff like that. If you're going for Asian vibes, feel free to add ginger, garlic, tamarind, anything you like. That is going to do it for this episode of Quarantine Kitchen. I hope the stuff helps. Feel free to message me if you want to tackle a tenderloin and you feel a little bit nervous about it. Happy to help. Have a good one. Bye.